Recording now. I think it should be going.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Houston Land Bank. Today is February 11th, 2020. It is 12:06 p.m. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we'll start first off with roll call. Director Castillo is not here. Director Collins.
Here.
Thank you. Director Deonda.
Here.
Director Galloway.
Here.
Director Hall.
I'm here.
Director Jackson.
Here.
Director Johnson Rose.
Present.
Thank you. Director Lampley.
We did two studies and found layering a cloth mask over a surgical mask
Director Mondragon.
and potentially infectious particles.
Not here. Director Vasquez.
Effectiveness through tightening your mask by simply
Not here. Director Vignot.
top of your ears on the roofs.
Not here. Director Zeiss is here.
Today,
Ex officio member Stoneham.
one adult
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Advisory Committee, Mr. Ferran,
health screening
Present.
entering
Mr. Marquez,
Present.
Mr. Williams,
of visitors.
is not here, and Ms. Zale.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, we have a quorum. And moving forward, item number 2, public speakers. I don't believe anybody signed up.
I believe that's correct.
Item number 3, swearing in of new board members. I believe we have 3 new board members and 3 reappointments, or 2 reappointments, 3 reappointments. I'm going to let our legal counsel, Gracie Signs, do the swearing in.
Okay, she may be on mute. I can't
Yep.
see the participants right now because I've got screen share on, but I
There
can
is-
try and
issues.
unmute
Okay,
her.
Matt, I am sorry, but I ended up forwarding you the information on the oath of office. And hold on just a second.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, I thought you were going to do it, so I just sent it to you. But if you could bear with me, I ended up having to clean out my old laptop, and then I'm on my old one. So.
I have it on my screen. I could share.
Could you share it with me? And
Yeah.
that would be great. This way
Yeah.
I don't have to
And I only have the Word version, so it's not the ceremonial one, but I can put it on screen so that way our new appointees can actually read it at the same time.
that's fine.
Let's see if you can see it.
I can see it now.
We have more of a certificate version that we will get everyone signed up and signed and notarized. We're trying to figure out the logistics of that for next week.
Thank you, Ann.
Do this.
Okay, for all of our new members and for all of the members that are being reappointed, if you care to join us in raising your right hand and repeating after me. I state your name,
I, Juan Cardoza Oquendo,
Hi.
Courtney
Carol
Johnson.
Galloway.
do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute
Do
solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute
the office of board member
the office of board member
of the Houston Land Bank
of the
Houston Land Bank,
and will to the best of my ability
And will to the
will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
this office
this
this office
and the laws of the state of Texas
and the laws of the state of Texas,
and the Constitution of the United States.
and the
Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So
Help me God.
Congratulations.
thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe you'll be forwarding that information for them to to
Yeah.
get notarize and all?
We will need signatures, and then we'll need to do probably an e-notary, or we will set up a time that people can come into the office and sign, or we can come to you. We're going to figure out the logistics of that because we do want to get on file. We may need to still do that for some of the city appointees from last summer as well. I think we didn't get the notary part figured out given all the COVID concerns, but I think we will be following up with that and a binder for the new board members, which would of course be available to all of the board members with some background information. And we will do an orientation session as well. So we're excited to see everyone. And I hope you were all raising your hand, and of course we may not have seen each other because I had the screen share on, but welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gracie, and welcome everyone, and congratulations. Moving on. Item number 4 is consideration and adoption of the meeting minutes from January 14th, 2021 board meeting. I believe we had an updated version that was sent out. Is that correct?
Yes, this morning. And there was really one correction to the motion, who made the motion and who seconded it for the meeting minute approval.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move, Carol Calloway.
Thank you, Director Galloway. Is there a second?
Second, Director Deanna.
Thank you, Director Deanna.
Question, clarification.
Yes, sir.
On the motion for APD, you listed C4, C8, and C5. I've never worked with C5, which is APD.
I believe you abstained from the entire motion,
No.
did you not?
That's not the way it reads. But still, you need to take out that that I had a working relationship with C4, C8, and C5.
Okay.
C5 is not correct.
Okay. Yes,
And-
you're correct. I remember that.
And the second clarification is, Gracie, I discussed with you the fact that whenever you have multiple items on the agenda, you can separate them. Would you please clarify? Gracie? Is she on mute?
Sorry, what was the question, David? I couldn't quite hear you.
Whenever you have multiple items on the agenda,
Mhm.
you can separate them and vote on them individually. I need for her to clarify that.
Yes, you can. You can
Okay.
separate items out as long as you make your motion known. And if it is a friendly amendment, let the individual that has made the motion to accept it.
Thank you
And
very
then
much.
it's voted on.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. So for the record, the item C5 will be removed from that third paragraph on page 8 of the board packet.
Correct.
Any other discussion or amendments? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the last meeting with the included changes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item number 5, the chairman's greeting. So I do have a couple items this morning, or this afternoon. First off, we are losing 2 great board members that I will certainly miss. First, Director Castillo could not be with us today, but I will certainly appreciate his diligence, thoughtfulness, and foresight in dealing with the issues that were presented to our board or his committee. His contributions to this organization have been generous and numerous. Chief among them was creating the first comprehensive policy document for this new organization for the Houston Land Bank that will govern how the organization is run for years to come. That was a monumental task to work with staff and the rest of the board and the committee to get that passed and get that done. And that was a really great document. I also want to thank him for lending his influence and his guidance during the last legislative session. Hope we can lean on him again this legislative session as well. But I will definitely miss all the time and energy he's dedicated to this organization. So thank you. And the next is Curtis Lampley. Curtis, I always appreciated your honesty and candor in our conversations at the board and committee meetings and private conversations. It takes a lot of trust to have frank conversations with somebody like that, and I really appreciate that. Your dedication to affordable housing and the families that we serve is evidenced by your 12 years plus of work to this organization. Very thankful for the leadership and persistence during the property audit that took almost 2 years, not quite done yet, but almost done. the organization is a much better place because of the efforts for that. Your work with the Builders Program and developing the Builders Program through various stages of this organization is immeasurable. It has huge impacts for many years to come. So thank you for that as well. So thank you again for all your time and energy you've dedicated to this organization. And if you'd like to say a few words.
I would. And I just would like to say that it has been a pleasure to serve on the Houston Land Bank board. I've had the honor to serve and work with, if my numbers are correct, 3 board presidents, 3 mayors, and 3 county commissioners, precinct 1 county commissioners, and a host of former and present board members, and most recently, just a wonderful staff, and really appreciate their dedication and patience with me and any questions that I have posed to them. Hopefully, it has all been toward making the Houston Land Bank a better organization. And so I just really want to say thank you to all for the opportunity.
Thank you. I believe Ms. Galloway, you have your hand up.
Yes, that's correct. I'm just kind of not, I guess I could say a little sad and disappointed for all this wealth of knowledge to be leaving the board. But I know with elected officials, they have the choice of appointing whomever. And of course, we'll certainly welcome whomever they appoint. But Mr. Lampley, I just want to commend you on the fantastic job you did had done in our home program. And your wealth of knowledge in the operation and procedure. But don't worry, I will be calling you. So don't think that you just completely gone away to, I'm going to be calling you. I'm letting everybody know, because the person my age, I can say what I like. And I'm saying this before everybody. Any questions I got and concerns I got, don't worry. Curtis, just be on notice. I will be calling and checking in with you. All right, love? Thank you so much for your service and love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I look forward to your calls.
And Director Johnson Rose?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I want to echo Ms. Calloway's comments and just thank Curtis for his tremendous efforts with this board over so many years. And just know that the work that you've done has been instrumental in affordable housing and has been instrumental in helping builders, minority builders, and small contractors and small businesses grow. So just again, thank you for your service, and just know that you'll be truly missed from this board.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to second everything that's been said. And Curtis, you've earned several new big game hunting trips.
Look forward to it. I'm going to hold you to that.
I'm serious. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Collins. I also want to mention Director Galloway was late last month, Director Galloway was named one of the recipients of the Mayor's History Maker Awards in celebration of Black History Month for February. This honor is well deserved in recognition of Director Galloway's continuous contributions to the city. Personally, it has been a great honor to serve with you and get to know you over the last few years. And I am thankful for all the time you've given to this organization, especially reading all of the organizations you do contribute time to. I definitely thank you for your contributions here. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Of course. One item of business is committees. Based on our strategic plan we passed last meeting, we will reorganize the committees a bit going forward. And so we will have, there'll be 5 committees: the Executive Committee, the Finance Committee, the Partnership and Program Development Committee, the Real Estate and Acquisition and Disposition Committee, and the Procurement and Oversight Committee. There's a slide in the strategic planning session that we'll email around separately, so everybody can look at the different committees and see what the responsibilities are of each committee. so they can find out what they are interested in, what they want to serve on. And hopefully in March, we'll have new chairs and new committees assigned, as well as some new officers of the board. The committees meet once a month, usually about an hour, hour and a half, depending on the workload, but it's usually about the week preceding the board meeting. So these are important meetings to attend and contribute to as a board to set policy for this organization. So I encourage everybody to sign up for at least one committee, maybe two, depending on your work schedule. And with that concludes my chairman's greeting. First up, we have next up we have the committee reports. So the executive committee did meet last week. I don't have my notes in front of me, but we did look mostly at the analysis of the lot maintenance programs that we've been doing over the last year and a half now, and they have been going well. And we have recommended that the board approve the continued extension of the lot maintenance contracts with the current contractors at the current rates. And I don't have my notes in front of me. Did I miss anything else we discussed at the meeting?
I don't think so, not in significant detail. I think many of the items on the agenda today were discussed.
Yeah. With that, we'll move on to the finance committee. Chair Bignot is not with us, but I will let Gonzalo make the presentation for the finance committee. Please prepared.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Matt. So yes, we went over during the regular finance committee yesterday. We did meet. We went over the routine of the financials for the month of December. We also discussed the impact that the acquisition of Yellow Cab that we closed on December 31st had the organization. And as we know, that's one of the largest transactions, or not one of it's the largest transaction inception to date of the organization. So that basically doubled our balance sheet. We also discussed the financing update with respect to Houston Lift. And then just a friendly reminder for all the board of directors on here that in the next regular monthly board meeting on March 11th, we will need a board vote for approval on a very preliminary budget numbers for fiscal year 22. Again, those are not final, but it's just something that we need to submit to the city of Houston under the operations agreement. So, and that's the update, Matt.
Those will be discussed in both the finance and the executive committee meeting before coming to the full board, and we will be able to explain what those numbers mean.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item C, program committee, Director Lampley.
Yes. Program committee met on February 2nd, I believe it was, this year. Have just a few updates. First one is an update on round 3 lot sales. Of the lot 3 round, there's 23 lots that have closed to date, with an additional 8 is anticipated this month. The second item is under our limited alternative land use program, staff and committee, the program committee has collaborated to provide a revised program to address some outstanding lots from the old right of first refusal program. The details will be provided under item 9B for approval today. And just the third item is an update on round 4. Staff is working on assembling the lot sales in this round, which will begin the 1st of March. Although we do not have an exact number due to them still being under evaluation, there will be anticipated as many as 50 lots for sale in this round, which will probably be one of the larger rounds with lots for sale. Still trying to honor Mr. Director Collins' directive is to build homes, just build homes. Staff has recommended that we separate city gas lots and sales in this round, which will run simultaneously with the round 4 lots, so that we can provide a deeper lot discount and lower capped prices to accommodate the lower income in this particular neighborhood. The city gas rounds will still, the information is still being flushed out. So we're trying to recognize city gas and the demographics of that particular community and be a little more sensitive to affordability, what that market's affordability is, and try to accommodate that with our lot sales. That's all I have, unless there's some questions.
Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Director Lampley. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Item D, Partnerships Committee, Director Johnson Rose.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I apologize for the background noise. I don't have a full report this month, but I do want to thank the board again for approving the JP Morgan Chase My Connect Community Program on last month. We are moving forward to try to get that project started, and we will be reporting more to the board as we go.
Very good. Thank you very much. Item 7, President's Report. President Haynes.
I will unmute myself. I wanted to wish you all a happy Black History Month. This is a really important month among, of course, every month has something now, but actually this was probably one of the first that assigned a whole month to learning more about Black history in the United States. And I just think especially Director Galloway's award, sort of the legacy of a lifetime of service to a community is really a part of that kind of recognition. And I really wanted to I was just very excited to see that and see the video of her presentation. If you all don't have that, I will send out the link for the award. I also wanted to just make a special mention to Director Lampley. You will be missed, and on behalf of the staff, I'm offering you a seat in our office, since the most probably spent the most time in committee meetings of any board member ever. We appreciate everybody's participation, but in fact, Curtis, especially with the audit of properties that were sort of you and Director Marquez, hour upon hour of going through that list, and that was painful. We got through it and appreciated all of that time and effort. And frankly, from the first day when I was brought into this organization on the vote, you provided a very, very warm welcome. And it was the 1-year anniversary of Harvey, and you were about to sort of have that bond issuance go through for the flood control agency. So sort of felt like it was just a really important time to be a part of Houston's development history. And it's been a pleasure to serve with you. So thank you so much. And Director Castillo is, but I would have an equal, going through the policies document last fall was a very long process, and we really appreciated all of his significant effort and time for that. So your efforts will always be a part of this institution. So thank you so much.
Damn.
And I just, very quick updates, because you can all see in the President's Report in the actual booklet starting on page 25. And I think really one of the things I wanted to highlight were just that we really are operating on, I would call it all cylinders, where we are so dedicated to the home buyers that we're working with in the new home development program, and increasingly with our builders in the traditional program. We have a couple of videos that we'll go through a little bit later in the session today, similar to last month, which really puts a fine point on who we're serving in our neighborhoods. But we're also being included both at the statewide, regional, statewide, and national level in conversations about accelerating community investment and making sure that land banks as a key tool in the redevelopment of our most important neighborhoods, and specifically around single-family home ownership. It continues to increase. I participated in a cohort of community development professionals from across the country a couple weeks ago from the Lincoln Institute, which actually is a tax policy institute, a think tank, but they have a number of different national convenings that help bring people together from different parts of the country and what they're facing. And I was really excited actually to meet the CEO of Build Baton Rouge, which has a very similar function that we have. And he obviously had a really interesting experience taking on that realm of the helm of this organization I did, and we continue to want to connect with other leaders in the field. We also have been able to connect with the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, which is a statewide finance agency. And at a separate session with Center for Community Progress, and I believe we have Matt Kreis here today, I was briefed with other land bank leaders from across the country on some national bills, some federal bills that may be filed or have been filed that support land banks, a land bank network, which includes technical assistance and other kinds of support nationwide, but also a very important bill that could be part of one of the infrastructure finance bills in the future that would find additional resources and funding to make sure that the land bank in Houston in particular, as a part of an ecosystem of organizations in Houston, can support single family home ownership at a more accelerated rate. We will continue to watch this federal legislation, and if we have connected with the city's lobbyists as well as our own to make sure that we keep a watch on things like that will again come back and bring some additional support locally to the work that we do. We distributed the year-end summary, which I hope you all enjoyed after I did send it last week, but we sent it to our mailing list, which is now over 1,000 people. And a lot of partners did react and said this was great to see. They really sort of understood a little bit more about all the work this organization has been doing. We will have some printed copies. And so if you have specific people that you would like to have this report mailed to, please let me know, because we are happy to do that. And I think, as Gonzalo briefly mentioned, we mentioned to the Finance Committee, we've been continuing to work with Houston LISC as a potential ability to help finance future acquisitions. Now, this could be, right now, it's a letter of intent to commitment to work with us up to a certain amount if we are interested in pursuing financing for future acquisitions. At this time, we do not have a specific acquisition that we will use financing for, but as we learned from last fall, being ready and having the ability and partnership with a finance agency in hand is really important. So we will continue to brief you on that. With the Finance Committee, we talked about continuing the conversation with Houston Housing Finance Corporation and potentially others, just to make sure we have enough tools in our toolbox to be able to do more work of what we want to do. And certainly any potential financing would come to the board first, and then certainly we would need to get approval from City Council. So there's multiple steps in that process. So I'm going to highlight that. And then my normal report, which is actually going to start changing next month, but we have 513 properties in our inventory as of February 1st, and 229 of those are holding for housing. But I think one of the most important things to note is that, especially given the types of acquisitions we've been doing on behalf of the housing department, which are larger, the way our records are kept, we need to start really fleshing out the number of lots, which are independent HCAD numbers, and the square footage they represent, because some of our lots are 5,000, most of the numbers of lots I report are 5,000 square foot or 7,500 square foot lots. But of course, Yellow Cab is 150,000 square feet. So we, 513 lots doesn't mean 513 homes. In fact, we've got much more coming down the pike. So we're going to start to adjust how to report to you all the status in a more dashboard form, so you can kind of understand the potential impact of what we've got. So unless there's any questions, I was going to close it at that, because we will be losing a few people, and I want to make sure we get to some of the board action items.
Thank you, President Haynes. Any questions? Hearing none. Moving on to thank you, President Haynes. Moving on to item number 8 from the Mayor's Office, ex officio Director Stoneham.
Good afternoon, everyone. And first, I wanted to start off by giving out a shout out and a thank you for your service to Curtis Lampley. We had a special bond over our farmers, and I don't know if y'all know, but I consider myself an aspiring farmer. So I definitely have learned a lot of tips from working with Curtis, and you will be missed, and I will be calling you as well. In terms of my mayor's report, at our last meeting, I gave a brief presentation about an upcoming design opportunity with the American Institute of Architects. I was working with our office, and also the Houston chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects. That kickoff panel and educational session took place last Tuesday, And thank you, Director Collins, for coming and for your support and for sharing the packet with the rest of the board members. I think it had a great attendance. There was almost over 300 people that signed up to hear about community-led design and some of the anchor projects and corridor revitalization requests that the Complete Communities indicated in the action planning process. Now we're going to move into the actual community workshop, which will take place on February 20th. And because of the great response that we received from the various architecture community that has agreed to volunteer their time to work with the residents to help visualize some of the revitalization strategies and such, we decided to expand it to all 10 Complete Communities. Initially, we were going to do just 5. And I also had thoughts about incorporating the site that was recently going through the acquisition process with the housing department, with the Houston Land Bank, also known as the Yellow Cab site, to work directly with the residents to hear a little bit about some of listening really to some of the things that the community wanted to see. I will be working closely with the staff and Anne in terms of what does that look like in terms of the scope, and also the housing department. But I'm really excited to see how great of a response we received from the community and to see how many people actually signed up. So that's my first update. My second update is one of the projects that was mentioned at that particular meeting, but also came from the action planning process for Acres Home, was to revitalize a middle school called Bethune Academy into an economic development and workforce hub. And recently that was passed as of last Tuesday as well by the City Council in order to accept that property from Aldine ISD, and also to use $4 million of CDBG funds in order to renovate phase 1 of that concept and facility. The operator would be HBDI, which is Houston Business Development, Inc. So they'll be the main property manager and the operator for the facility. But that was a huge milestone for the Acres Home community, which is in very close proximity of multiple lots that was given out by the Houston Land Bank and in the home program. So really just showing the leveraging of the impact, and hopefully I believe this will be a huge catalyst for the Acres Home community.
Amen. Mr. Chair. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I just wanted to say, Ms. Stoneham, that was a great presentation. I enjoyed every moment of it, and it was very informative. And so that's why I forwarded it to the board for their review, because I think it's very important for our continued success. And I'll tell the mayor, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Thank you very much, Director Stoneham. Item number 9, we have a legislative affairs update from Mr. Sanders.
We should, if people can't see his photo, we've also got Jerry.
Actually, you have
Yeah.
We got both of us.
Oh, we have Jerry too. Good.
So I see them on the lower left. So depending on
so first of all, thank you all so much for believing in One World and Josh and I. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much for allowing Josh and I to serve the land bank. We're more than excited to be working on this really tremendous opportunity. We've already started the work here in Austin, and Josh will give you a lot more updates. As you can see, I am headed into the airport, so he will give our full update on the things going on. But very high level, we've met with members, we've met with the city, met the governor's office. Again, he'll give more detail. And what we're going to really need from each of you all as part of the board, there is a document that we've shared so we can understand the board members' different member relationships. So as we're building teams and as we're lobbying and advocating, and talking about the issues, we're also able to engage the board. Again, just want to thank you all. Things are going well. We have a very positive approach to how we're going to get this bill passed. And Josh, if you don't mind, if you can give full details so I can clear security.
Yeah, certainly. Hope everyone's doing well today. I hope my background maybe brings some warmth, especially with the weather we're dealing with this weekend. But yeah, as Jerry said, we're going to be reaching out to try to understand, what relationships the board has with people in Austin. And, a great example, so much wonderful things were said about Director Lampley earlier. And during our last legislative session, Curtis actually came up to Austin, him and Director Castillo gave different testimony, verbal and written, to support our efforts of the land bank with our legislative priorities. And so I just wanted to kind of take a quick step back and just maybe explain a little bit about why we're taking efforts at the state level and just how land banking has really been regulated and authorized within Texas. So many of you know, obviously, the LoRa board started out in the late 90s in Houston, and really was kind of a pioneer at the way in which they approach things. And so the state actually in 2007 passed land bank statutes for the city of Houston. It was a bracketed bill. So there is specific code at the state legislature and the local government code that authorizes a land bank in Dallas. They have their own section of code. We have our own bracketed section for Houston. And then there's another section that allows and authorizes land banks throughout the rest of Texas. Well, because the LoRa board was formed before this piece of legislation was passed, the Houston Land Bank and its preceding organization have never operated underneath that section of code at the state level. We've always just kind of operated underneath the transportation code and some of the other abilities that we had. And so what our legislative efforts are really to kind of do two main things. And one of them is to take what we're doing right now as an organization and what you guys are doing, and just consolidate that and replace the existing code that we don't use. So we're going to take and scrap the existing code that we've never operated under and replace it with essentially the powers and the structure that the land bank currently operates under. That's going to be important because it provides clarity for not only you guys as a board, but also for the legislators, for the member organizations and governmental entities in which you guys represent, and then also for the public. So this will create a very clear, concise, and transparent statute that you'll be able to operate under going forward. The goal is to still keep it bracketed, so this will only be applied to the Houston Land Bank. And then the second primary reason we're doing this is, obviously, as it was talked about earlier, land bank building houses, right? Getting affordable housing out into the community. But as we've looked over the past couple of years, there may be some other potential uses for property that the land bank comes across. That could be for flood control. That could potentially be for parks and open space, food deserts. And so part of the goal of this legislation is to also broaden the powers of the land bank on how they can dispose of that property and what types of partnerships and agreements they can get into with other organizations and individuals. And so we've started the process. Last session, we got this bill. We're refiling the same bill essentially with some minor changes from comments from the governor's office. But we were able to pass SB 1918 last session, which was carried by Senator Houston Carol Alvarado. We got into the House committee process where essentially the bill was held up for further review and further discussion. And it was done predominantly at the request of the governor's office. So as it's been mentioned earlier, we've already had some very successful meetings with the governor's office to try to understand what the issues they had with the bill. We believe we've addressed those issues and concerns, and we should be able to start moving that bill through the process. Sometime over the next couple of weeks, we'll actually get the bill filed in the form that we want to begin the legislative process. Committee hearings and bill referrals won't be happening until the end of February, beginning of March. So we're still kind of in the development phase and still kind of so-called baking the cake at this point. But we're going to be keeping you guys engaged and potentially reaching out for ways in which you can help tell the story of the land bank to some key policymakers that are going to be reviewing this legislation during this session. And so we're always available if you guys have questions about what we're doing. We welcome any level of participation that you may want to give. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, most of the session right now is obviously what we're doing. It's all Zoom calls and digital interactions. So there's going to be a lot less of a need to actually be physically present in Austin. So emails, Zoom calls, Twitter, other means of social media. As we're going through this process, we may lean on you guys for some engagement and support to be able to do that. So I'll answer, we can answer any questions you guys may have right now, but it's an honor to be working for the organization and to be able to tell your story up at the state level.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Josh. Really appreciate your involvement in this and look forward to great results in the next few months. Are there any questions right now, or?
I think Director Galloway has her hand raised.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, on the bill that they're lobbying for, or do we have a copy of that bill?
Right now, we're in the process of submitting some comments around a bill that was passed last session to get a new draft of it done. So what we can do after this meeting, Director Galloway, is send you over the bill that was passed by the Texas Senate last session, which is essentially our starting point for negotiations and for the new bill draft this session. There's not too many differences to that, but we've been having conversations and working with Matt Kreis and Center for Community Progress just to try to finalize some of the legal language that will be included in the legislation. So you guys, of course, will get the bill immediately when it is filed, and then we can go ahead and send you over some stuff during the meeting or after the meeting on the legislation that was passed last session during in the Texas Senate.
Okay, well, that's what I would like to get, because I mean, if you're passing a bill on our behalf, seem like if it's something there, we might want to add or subtract before you submit it. Did they have in the bill different configuration of the board? I mean, was that would be a part of it, or
no, no, ma'am.
Okay, okay, let's okay.
Yeah, what we're trying to do, Director Galloway, is essentially take what you guys are operating in, the structure you're operating in right now, and just make sure that it's codified at the state level, because currently you don't have that, and there is legislation that has around a Houston land bank that we don't operate under and we don't utilize. And so the goal is to take the exact structure on how you guys are operating and doing so well with right now, and just put that directly into state code.
Okay, okay, all right, that's simplified. It's all right, thank you. Okay.
No problem.
That's it.
And this legislation was the SB 1918 was before the board 2 years ago, before while it was being filed and while I was going through the legislative process last year, so, or 2 years ago. So I imagine what I'm saying.
And just so everyone's aware, we are in contact and communication, and we were as well last session. You know, the work product in the bill that was ultimately passed was really something that came out of communications and work groups with groups like the Texas Housing or the Houston Housing Collaborative, Texas Housers. So we've been engaged with other groups that are in tune and kind of active within the affordable housing realm. And so we're still going to be talking with those types of groups and engaging with those types of communities during the legislative process, because that's just the way it works, right? You know, anybody's allowed to go testify and give their input on any piece of legislation. And so we want to make sure that the folks within the industries in which we're working with and partnering with are also going to be supportive of our efforts.
Okay, do you have the list of the chair and the who we'll be lobbying with? You're going to provide us with that, and who are the different legislators that's on that committee?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, the Texas House just released their committees last week.
I know.
So we've got that, and we've got some good members on that Urban Affairs Committee.
Okay.
One of them being Jarvis Johnson, who we've done a lot of work in his different in his district and his communities. And so I think the committee bodes well for us on both sides in the Senate and the House. And the chairman for the committee in the Senate is Senator Paul Bettencourt.
Oh my goodness.
Well, he voted for it last time.
All right. Okay. He the one messed up my city, but go. That's all right. Okay. All right. Oh my
Carol, I
goodness.
refrained from comment myself.
I know, right? Well, you know me. Like I say, I'm gonna say what I want, because baby, when you get past 80, you can say anything you please, and that's what I do. Okay, I ain't got to answer nobody. Okay.
Yeah, but Josh, I would just say step carefully, because the senator has not been a consistent supporter of housing.
Right. Thank you.
Definitely. No, we're well aware of that, and we've already had some preliminary discussions with his office, and I will say he was one of the yes votes to pass our piece of legislation out of the Texas Senate last session. So hopefully that means he won't backtrack on his support of the land bank at this point. But we'll have to go through the process, right?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
We certainly will. Thank you for those questions, Director Galloway and Ms. Chat and Director Jackson. And thank you, Josh. Any other comments? Not seeing any. I see we're going to lose Director Marquez, and I believe we're going to lose a few board members at 1 o'clock. So we're trying to move as quickly as possible. But before we move into board action items, I believe Jen has some new homeowner videos to share.
Yes, and while I figure out the technology, Jen, you can do the setup for the first one.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. For our new board members, welcome aboard first and foremost. My name is Jennifer Allison. I'm VP of Operations and Programs. Last month, we shared a video of Mr. Walker celebrating his first holiday as a homeowner. This month, I'd like to introduce you to two families that are proud homeowners. Can you guys hear me? Okay, that are proud. Okay, thanks. I disappeared on the screen. That are proud homeowners because of the hard work and dedication in our partnerships. The first video that you'll see is of Ray and Jillian Menifee. Mr. Menifee is retired military. He grew up in the Acres Homes area. Mrs. Menifee is originally from the Virgin Islands. They purchased through the standard way of purchase. For new board members, that simply means they did not use the Houston Community Land Trust model, but they purchased through our land bank program, the new home development program through HCDD with housing and the City of Houston Housing. They purchased in the fourth quarter of 2019. Their house is out of our phase two of houses. It's built by Crown Ridge Builders, and they state over and over how they never have imagined that they could have been homeowners. It's about 3 minutes. Go ahead, Ann.
I'm going to try this technology. It should be on. Can you all see something that says Menifee and it's a video?
Yes.
Okay.
Today we're at 6809 Bethune. Mr. and Mrs. Ray Menifee. Hello. Hello, Mrs. Menifee. How are you? Come on in. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Menifee. How are you?
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Welcome to Jill and Ray's Bunkhouse.
The bunkhouse. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So we don't have a lot of time, but as I ask you over the phone, what is like the greatest memory you have about your house or the experience you've had with getting the house or anything like that?
Well, as memories, we don't have no great memories, but we're developing memories of the house.
Okay.
Yes, we're still building, trying to develop, make it.
Maybe we lost audio.
And we're working on really building the house up.
Yes. Yes.
Is the audio back on?
As far as everything else, hey, you take it one step at a time. We're working our way inside out.
Got it. Got it.
The house is a reflection of us, what we wanted to look like inside. And you know, it's just something that we have the rest of our life to share with each other.
Like I said, we developing memories.
Right.
But like I said, we getting older day by day. So maybe 10, 15, 20 years from now, we can reflect on the memories that we're developing now.
Yeah, we thank God for, blessing us with this brand new home.
Blessings.
Hey, wasn't expecting a brand new home. We were looking for a home. And this just happened to be in our pathway, and it was truly a blessing.
Thank you already in the place.
Good deal. I see you have your red on today.
Oh, yes, definitely celebrating Valentine's Day. It's never too early to celebrate.
Oh my gosh, no. Oh no, this is great stuff.
We've been married for 30 years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That is so wonderful.
Yes.
Yes.
So if Mr. Menifee, if you're anything like my dad, he says the trick to staying married this long is that your wife is just always right.
Brag on a cookie.
Oh yeah, okay, great deal. Great deal.
Brag on a cookie.
So what do you have here, Miss Menifee?
Oh, well, we like to celebrate, we like to thank Land Bank, Houston Land Bank for, for the building and everything. And we just want to show our appreciation, and in honor of Valentine's Day, we'd like to make a toast.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I will pour some.
No, that's not, is that apple cider?
Yeah, just apple.
Oh, okay, good deal. Okay, no drinking.
We don't do that with alcohol.
So you're toasting.
We're toasting
to Houston Land Bank for making dreams come true.
Oh, I love you guys.
Super cool.
So when Ron, our property manager, who's also on, met them for the first time, he called me on the phone. He says, Jen, I've got to tell you about this family. I met Mr. Menifee and he loves his wife. I mean, you just have to be around them. And every time you speak with Mr. Menifee, he always says, just talk to my wife, just talk to my wife. So that's the Menifees. The second video is of the Cantu family. This video is about 3 minutes. It is Victor, Ivania, and their son, Hugh. They're a great family to visit with. They too purchased in the fourth quarter of 2019, phase 2 Crown Ridge Homes. Their story of how they received their home was very interesting. And I'll give you just a real short snip of it. Hugh goes to the library every day after school. And this particular day, they go to the library as normal. And Miss Cantu is standing in the lobby of the library, and Hugh picks up a flyer. He gives it to he's reading it, and then he gives it to his mom. And he says, Mom, this is how we're going to get our house. She said she read it, she put it to the side and figured they couldn't afford a house. Later on that night when they got home, Hugh said once again, Mom, have you called the number? This is how we're getting our house. And that's how they got their house. So here's their video.
And Jen, before you started, I got to go, but I just want to again remind everyone to make certain that we are getting some kind of release for doing these videos. All these may be okay for now, but if we end up using it someplace else or whatever, we really, really legally should have a release being executed by these homeowners, guys.
I have it. And Director Jackson, let me ask you this question to make sure that I was following your directive last month. So I not only did I speak with them, but I also sent them a simple email that just explained how this video would be used, how long we would have it and so forth, and where it would live. And then I had them respond back that they were authorizing us to use that. Would that be sufficient?
If Gracie is fine with that, I would prefer there to actually be a release document that they have signed, but if Gracie is fine with that. But again, these are the kind of things that you do the first 5, 10, they be fine. And then you get that one that's a hiccup. And because that's all you had, it's a problem. So
I will take
just rather us be on the right side of doing this correctly.
Jen,
No
and
Jen,
we can
Jen,
follow up later on it, Jen.
Okay.
I think for right now, I think what just the email approval or authorization is fine. But let's discuss where this is going to be housed as well. Okay, so we'll follow up.
Jen, this is Anderson. Sorry to interrupt. Probably I could be of a small of assistance. Our communications team at the city, we do have a release form. It's a form that we've already created internally, legal have reviewed. We just get it to individuals that sign off on it. I'm certainly sure that's not a big deal to probably share that with you guys. You all can customize it or update it as needed to meet you all needs. And probably that could be a quick way to have something. Again, I'm just volunteering. Doesn't mean you have to go with my
No,
request.
thank you, Anderson.
Thanks, Anderson.
Okay, thank you all. Are you, do I
Yes,
have, am I
we're
on mute? Okay, I want to make sure the technology works here. So I'm going to press play on Cantu.
Hello, everybody. Today we're at 6805 McWilliams with the Cantu family, Mr. and Mrs. Victor Cantu. They're expecting us.
Hi, Miss Ellison.
Hi, Mr. Cantu, how are you?
Pretty good. So blessed to have you here today, Miss Ellison. This is Cantu families. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
First, let me introduce my lovely family. My wife, Ivania.
Hi.
And my son, Assam.
Hi.
We have it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It has a porch in the back, and also it has a backyard. And this is where we spend the most of the time here. We had our family Thanksgiving dinner. We celebrated and here, and then this is the living room. And then most of the time we stay here also in the living room. That's where we
very nice.
Our family movie time, or just as a family, together.
So as I was leaving, the Cantus began to say something else that I thought the board would really enjoy hearing. So I sat back down again for about 30 minutes, I'm sorry, for about 2 minutes or so for them to share what they were saying. Here we go.
When we heard about the program, we really did not believe that such a program will be real, will be true. Because it's well, who's gonna give so much money, that a lot of money. And we were unbelief of the program, but once we got into it, and we finally have the house, now we have recommended it to other friends and family as well.
Thank you. Mr. Cantu?
Sí, para mí la experiencia en adquirir una casa y el hecho de enterarnos de que alguien podía realmente ayudarnos a conseguirla y decirnos que había fondos para que nosotros lo usáramos aquí en la comunidad, para mí no, parecía una mentira, pero se hizo una realidad y lo hemos comprobado. Y por eso yo estoy bien contento y le doy gracias a Dios por el equipo que nos ayuda a comprar.
We believe that God always, for us, it was a miracle. And we also believe that God puts people, the right people in your path to be able to fulfill what he wants to give us. And for us, we had asked God for this house. And we say, Lord, help us, guide us to go to the right people, that will make us, the dream come true. And that's what happened.
Thank you again.
Wonderful. I just want to thank Jen for her hopeful new nomination for an Academy Award, because both of those needed a little bit of editing to get them to a short. They're really great stories. And in fact, hopefully we can all see the long versions at some point as well. But thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you. Thank you, board. Home ownership transforms lives. And if you have the opportunity to meet these people like I do and to know their stories, it just takes it to a whole nother level, that it's more than what we see, but we're transforming them and their children and their children's children to know that they can have homes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Those are both very touching and great families.
Thanks.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for personalizing it for us. Okay, moving on to item 10, board action items. First up is item A, consideration and possible action to accept program committee and staff builder lot selection recommendation for a round 3 lot sale under the HLB Traditional Home Building Initiative. This is for 8414 Safeguard. It's $73,459 to Cole Klein Builders. I believe we have a presentation on this before we entertain motions from Doris.
Yes, give me one moment to pull up my memo. So I know all of you are aware that we were in the middle of round 3 lot sales for our traditional program. And I do apologize. I'll try to make this brief for the new board members. Essentially what we have is 2 programs. I'm sure Ann has explained this to you, our NHDP program and our traditional program. And I am facilitating and overseeing the traditional program. So what we do in that program is we sell our lots in different rounds throughout the year. And this would actually be our round 3 of lot sales. It started last year and majority of them have already closed. This would be the last one that would be closing if approved today. I just want to give you guys a quick background on the lot, where it's located at and what the price points are. And if you have any questions, you can definitely feel free to ask. So the program committee and staff, we've reviewed these multiple times, and this one we actually got additional information on because it would be a full replatting. It's a lot located in Sunnyside. The builder is one of our approved builders, Cole Klein Builders, and we're recommending that they be awarded a lot that is 21,798 square feet. Currently, it is 3 HCAD, 3 lots under 1 HCAD, but they are proposing that it be replatted into 6 separate lots. And these lots would each house 1 2-story home, which would be roughly 1,750 square feet each. This set of homes will require the larger lot to be subdivided, as I said, and the total price for purchasing the entire lot would be $73,459. And after subdividing, this is a little math that I did for you guys. After subdividing, it would equal roughly $12,243 per lot, because it would end up being 6 lots. And as you all are familiar, our cap for our program is $212. So each one of these homes would be sold for $212.
What's the location? What subdivision?
Sunnyside. Director Collins, Sunnyside.
What subdivision?
I'm not sure exactly what subdivision it is, but I know that it is located on Safeguard and I believe West Belfort. So it's almost to the corner.
Okay, thank you.
Director Collins.
Yes.
I've been out that way on Safeguard. If you're familiar, do you know where that Burger King is? There's a Burger King on the corner.
Is that near Sunnyside?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
It's very near that Burger King on the corner.
Thank you.
So does anyone have any questions about the proposed purchase under the lot 3 sales, or need additional information? Because we've included the actual plot plan, the pro forma that the builder will have to build under, and then also the plans and specs for the 6 houses in the board book. So does anyone need any additional information before a vote is proposed?
I don't see any questions. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for approval.
So actually, Director Lampley, I'm not sure that you can make a motion at this moment, at this time. Because I think we sworn in somebody in your position. Sorry.
I'm always trying the system. You know
I
me.
know you're always trying to help.
Well, evidently, Mr. Lampley, you went through this, you scrutinized this project, correct?
Yes.
All right. He can just answer some questions. I make a motion.
Thank you, Director Galloway. Is there a second?
Courtney Rose, second.
Thank you, Director Johnson Rose. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. The motion on the table is to adopt the staff and builder committee recommendation to for a round 3 lot sale under the HOA Traditional Building Initiative Program at 8414 Safeguard. It is HCAD number 076-149-001-0003 for $73,459 to Cole Klein Builders. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, item B, consideration and possible action to establish and accept program committee recommendation to establish a limited alternative use land use program. I believe, Doris, you have a briefing on this as well.
Yes, I do, Chairman Zeiss. So I will try to be brief with this one as well, but I think a little background information may be beneficial for our new board members. So the board used to have a right of first refusal program whereby we would sell lots, adjacent lots to homeowners that requested them and they met certain conditions. These lots were normally unbuildable to the Houston Land Bank for our housing purposes. So we would sell them under this program as long as certain requirements were met. This program was actually discontinued
2017.
Yes, it was discontinued a few years ago. And what we are proposing today is that we revamp this program for a specific number of lots for specific entities that are still interested in the lots that they wanted a few years ago. So essentially what I had to do was go into the database and go through all of the lots that were labeled under this right of first refusal program, under our audit system that we've done over the past 2 years. And I pulled out the ones that were actually approved by the board and approved by our legal counsel, and offer letters had actually went out to these entities, but they were not able to purchase them at the time. And these entities have been calling in and still requesting to see if they could purchase them. So this program, this limited program would open it up for them to be able to purchase these lots that they weren't able to purchase years ago. And the thing with these lots are all of them are either directly across from a church, directly beside a church, or within the church grounds. So there are churches that are requesting these lots so that they can either expand their church or have adequate parking for their church organization. And the committee and even the program and even the executive committee went back and forth on the actual pricing of these lots. And we came up with a system whereby either we would take the current HCAD of a lot, or we would take the Houston Land Bank valuation, which is done by Ivan Zapata, our real estate director. And what he does is he does a full evaluation of the lot based on where it's located, based on comps, based on everything surrounding the lot, so that we can have an amount to sell the lot as if we were selling it to a builder. And then what we do is we would take that amount and subtract 20% for the actual churches taking care of the lot over the last 5 years. And this is all within the program that was submitted in the board book to you guys. And we came up with specific amounts for each lot that we're proposing that they be purchased on. I want to be clear that today we are actually only, this is up for approval of the actual program and not the contracts, because the contracts themselves have not been drafted due to the program not being approved yet. So the contracts, if the program is approved today, would come back to the board next month for approval. And they would include the plans and specs, exactly what the entities are proposing to do with the lot. Also, what their like their pro forma for what they're planning on doing, the construction, or if they plan on doing a parking lot, whatever the case may be, we will have details within the actual contract of what they're actually proposing. Another proponent that we added to the program is, given that these lots will not be used for housing, we wanted to get some type of housing benefit from them. So we are requiring that the churches hold home buyer seminars within the church so that we can get some type of affordable housing community commitment out of, us selling the lot, since we can't, build a house on it. So I think that's pretty much the synopsis of the new program. It definitely has components of the old program, and there are a few things added to distinguish the new program, because I do understand that there were some problems with the old program, which is why it was actually discontinued. So I wanted to open the floor up for discussion.
Thank you so much for that overview. That was super helpful. So these aren't going to be used for homes, and you mentioned that they might be used for parking lots. What else are these lots used for?
So generally, all of our lots are going towards housing, because that's a part of our funding that we. But in this instance, these lots that the churches are requesting are either very difficult to build housing on because they're located close to the church. So either they would be putting parking on it for the church that's lacking, something that's lacking with the church, or either they would be expanding the church. That makes sense, because some of them are literally right beside the church.
Okay.
So what we're looking to do is actually expand the church.
And just as a clarification, the way this program is written and titled, it is really intended to be limited to those that had obviously prior conversations that have been approved by the board, and again are really specifically unbuildable for housing, because what we're trying to do is keep this from being an open program going forward for every last instance. But in this case, we've also inspected the land specifically as its buildability or ability to be built into housing as well.
Okay, thank you.
And I think there's 2 raised hands.
Okay.
Director Johnson, Director Galloway. I don't know who had their hand up first.
Dr. Galloway, Dr. Johnson Rose, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just want to speak in favor of the motion. I think this is a great way to utilize difficult to build on lots, and I think it's a great community resource that the land bank can do. So I just want to compliment the staff and you all on creating a creative solution, and would like to make the motion that we move forward with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the motion has been made. Director Galloway, you have a comment?
Yes, I have a comment. Now, I was looking at the lots. Do we have the sizes of the lots here? I know it'd probably be on the next month for the contract or something, of the 3 persons, the 3 churches.
Matt, you have a motion that has been made. It needs to be seconded before a discussion is held. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a
Is there a
second?
second to the motion?
Second. Pastor Hall.
Second by Director Hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Galloway, so you're looking for the square footage of the lots, 4 lots in question?
Yeah, it's that's listed on the agenda. It's just for the 3 churches that are listed.
So let me see if I can pull up the.
Isn't that agenda item 10B?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I see on the back. I was wondering what size was the lots because it didn't give us descriptions on them.
Okay, so Galloway, I don't have that information in front of me, what the actual square footage of the lot is. Do you want me to pull it up really quickly, or do you want me to send it to you after the meeting?
They will be part of the contracts when they come
Yeah,
through.
no, that's one. I know that's me now was questioning because I was looking at the purchase price as well. Since you had all that there, I thought maybe you have the entire size of lots and everything. Now, these lots, this is going to be stipulated in the contract. How will you be able to enforce if a church decides to build a house on one of the lots? What means do we have to control that once they purchase it?
Okay, so what we'll do is we will have, it's going to be the typical land bank contract. It's going to vary a little bit based on the actual program that it's under, but our restrictions will run with the land. So that's something that, and that's also something that will have to be explained, the actual new terms of the program and also the restrictions and what they can and they cannot do.
Will
And
that be part of the deed?
yes.
Okay, that's all. All right, okay. Thank you.
Good questions. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the motion is to approve item B, approve the establishment of a limited alternative land use program as detailed in the board packet. I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Let the minute show that Director Collins is not at his desk, so I just want to make sure he does not be recorded as a yes vote. Okay. Moving on, item C, consideration and possible action to extend lot maintenance contracts with EA Professional Services, Smartscaping, Transtech, and AD Construction Development through the end of fiscal year 2020, which is June 30, or 2022, which would be June 30th, 2022. I believe Mr. Benson has a presentation on this.
I do. And if you're okay, I'll go ahead and share screen and put it up.
I think I just made it possible.
All right.
And actually, I didn't do this for staff earlier, but just make sure to introduce yourself since we have new board members and don't know all staff.
Apologies. I'm David Benson. I've been working with the Land Bank since late 2018 and support mostly procurement and communications and board support.
And continuous improvement.
And continuous improvement.
Right.
Yes. All right, let's see here. This isn't the one I wanted to show you, but it'll work. For the new board members and those of you who were here last year, you'll recall that we, in early 2020 rather, we instituted a new approach to lot maintenance that really tried to treat them more like we'd treat our own yards, not quite to that extent, but instituting a 4-week maintenance cycle on all the lots that we own that are accessible, and working with 4 different contractors instead of the 2 we previously had. Those 2 stayed on board, but through an RFQ process, we also added 2 additional contractors. The good news is that after a year, it looks like what we're doing is working well. We're well under initial projections, which were very conservative. We are running under budget based on the first 6 months of the fiscal year. We're doing well against city standards, which has been a big focus for us. Really emphasizing a good neighbor approach. As I mentioned in the executive committee meeting last week, we try and think of these lots, try and take care of them as if we live next to them. Staff is pursuing adjustments to improve performance. Our contracts expire at the end of this month, and what we're requesting today is board authorization to extend those contracts for 16 months through the end of the next fiscal year. So that'd be till the end of June 2021. And I know Ron Butler, who actually runs the program, has some more information for you. Ron, I'm happy to scroll through this presentation as you direct.
Okay, thank you, David. Hello all, my name is Ron Butler. I'm the property maintenance manager for the Houston Land Bank. I am charged with maintaining our approximately, the number fluctuates as you heard.
Every month.
500, excuse me. Yeah, our properties fluctuate. So we're 500 plus properties that we're maintaining. And that number equates to approximately 78 acres, which is scattered all over Houston throughout the areas of Acres Homes, 5th Ward, City Gas, 3rd Ward, and Sunnyside. As Mr. Benson just mentioned, we approved 4 lot maintenance vendors through the board last year of March. And we're on a 4-week cutting cycle with those 4 lot maintenance vendors. The vendors have been assigned properties geographically. Next slide, please. So instead of, in the past, we had the 2 vendors and they were crossing paths. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, but in my mind, it was feasible to have 1 vendor in 1 location. I know exactly who to go to if I had an issue. This slide here is showing one of our properties and how much growth we have pretty much in our 4-week cycle. Of course, you probably wouldn't have this much growth at your own personal home, but this is actually weeds. So we all know weeds grow faster than actual grass. Next slide, please. So in keeping in focus with community and compliance, and also focusing on being a good neighbor, we adopted some goals, and one of the main focuses one of the main goals is not allowing our done violations to turn into actual citations. So unfortunately, we're going to continue to receive done violations simply because of one of the main fights that we're fighting out there, which is illegal dumping. And the other goal is building and engaging in community engagement. I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job at that. When I'm out on site, I have quite a few of our neighbors. They'll come up and talk to me, excuse me. And then they also approach our lot maintenance vendors and tell them how much they appreciate what we're doing out there and seeing the difference. We've made a lot of positive progress in this past year, almost year now. Next slide, please. This slide is basically showing, we want to showcase our new safety vests, of course, that our lot maintenance vendors are wearing on site. So they're showing that we actually have presence out there. And also, I'm sorry, let me back up. So I just want to give a little bit more detail on this. Yes, we're actually cutting down this tree. This tree we were asked by a neighbor to remove this tree due to life safety issues. This tree was actually hanging over the neighbor's house, and one of the limbs had already fell on the neighbor's house, causing minor damage to her rain gutter system. So in keeping with our good neighbor policy, we went ahead and opted to remove the tree, and most definitely not want to have to face any major damages down the road if that actual tree would have fell on the house. Next slide, please.
So I think we're going to probably do the summary at this point, because I think this is when it goes into detail.
Okay.
Thank you.
Or you wanted me to speak on this, Ann?
I think I think the most important thing is we have a number of recommendations, and really the board action is around extending the contract. So if you want to speak to that, that would be perfect.
Okay, so we're actually requesting, of course, extending our current lot maintenance vendors an additional 16 months through June 2022. Once again, there's been major progress that's been made out in the field. If you all have had the opportunity, I think some of the board members have had the opportunity to take a ride I think it was what, City Gas, to see, and if you know exactly where our lots are, we have the lots called out or notated on the actual street. So the last 4 digits of the HCAT number is painted on the street. So you will be able to easily identify our lots. But like I said,
Yes, I would say that some of the people in City Gas, a couple of people I know found out we had those lots and they was very excited that they had come out there and cleaned them off. And I would make a motion to approve the contract extension.
Thank you, Director Galloway. Is there a second?
Second, Pastor Hall.
Thank you, Director Hall. Yeah, the Oversight Committee has been working on this review as well from staff, and I would recommend that we do this review at least annually going forward to make sure that our performance is kept up on this, which seems to be going very well and under budget. So great job to staff on that. Are there any other comments or questions?
Question.
Yes, sir.
For each of the 4 contracts, we have a list of the addresses per contract, right?
Correct.
Could you send me a copy of each? You
Yes,
have
sir.
it in Excel?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll send a copy to you.
Okay, thank you.
I would like a copy of that list as well, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, just send all the directors a copy.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, I call the question.
Oh, good, Matt. I thought we might have lost you for a second.
There's been a motion and a second already.
Right.
Yeah, what, Matt?
I have a feeling Matt's having connectivity issues. That's what makes me worried.
He can't hear?
Yes, he just unfortunately dropped off. So
We
hopefully,
have a motion and a second. I call for the vote.
All right. You can, because you second. Okay.
It's already been motion and second.
okay, he's back. Yay.
Oh, you back? Okay.
Thank you, Director Collins.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. No other comments. I'll call the vote. All those in favor of extending the lot maintenance contracts for EA professional services, Smartscaping, Transtech, and A&D Construction Development through the end of fiscal year 2022 or through June 30th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, moving along. Item D, consideration of possible action to delegate authority and direct staff to acquire 1.67 acres at 7811 Harrisburg in the Magnolia Park / East End area for a price not to exceed $1.9 million for the City of Houston's New Home Development Program under the auspices of the amended and restated acquisition agreement with the City of Houston with the HCAT numbers below that I'll read after the motion. So is there, I believe we've discussed this property multiple times in the last few meetings. Do we have a presentation on this or we want to the motion?
Ivan was going to go through a brief overview. Depending on the time, it's up to you. I just feel that maybe some of the new board members wouldn't have all the background on it. So.
Yeah, we can do a 2-minute overview. Is that possible? 1-minute overview? Good.
Yeah, absolutely. So really quick, hi, everybody. My name is Ivan Zapata. I'm the Director of Acquisitions and Development. Just a real quick background, in case you didn't know, one of our major directives from the Housing Department is to provide an inventory for them. So we are actively pursuing properties, specifically large and scattered parcels throughout our neighborhoods. As part of our efforts, this particular transaction, what we call the ILA site over on just off of Harrisburg and 78th Street on the east end of town, would be the second largest acquisition that we've done, the Yellow Cab being already mentioned, being the largest that we've done till now. So starting to build momentum. As Director Zeiss mentioned, it's been mentioned a few times before, but again, this is about 1.7, about 1 2/3 acres out in the east end. We've done all these due diligence, the surveys, the environmental, the appraisals, and all that sort of stuff. Everything is coming back just fine, and the housing department is ready to proceed. Moreover, demonstrating their effectiveness or their loyalty, if you will, to the program. They are currently seeking another $1.4 million in funding so that we can close this and a few other transactions that we have in our pipeline. So really just asking the board to give us authority to go ahead and move forward with acquiring this property. I believe the packets have all information that's there, and any sort of due diligence information that may be wanted, I can certainly provide that as well. And I don't know if you wanted to add anything or.
I think you did a great job. Carol, Director Galloway has a question, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my question, reading this, am I understanding correctly, per the information you're giving us on the background, that 80% of the building for this project is going to be for affordable and low income families, and the other 20% going to be at cost? In other words, you'll have a $350,000 home or townhouse or whatever built, and it will go for at cost to a person that can qualify for that. Am I reading this correctly, or the entire project going to be for affordable low income houses?
I'll say this, one of the, I believe what you're referring to are potential development outcomes. Right now we've ran several scenarios. That being one of those that's mentioned. We've run a few scenarios where the income or market mix changes along with the housing typology changes. But we've kind of assessed those scenarios for the housing department, sort of ran the numbers, if you will, on some of these assumptions. And really what that is just a summary of what could be produced. But the ultimate design mix, not only from an income stratification standpoint, but also the housing typology hasn't been permanently selected. Right now, the only thing we're discussing, or I guess I should say we're requesting, is the ability to close on this particular contract for the acquisition of the land. The housing department will ultimately, at some point in the future, decide what the final outcome or what the final development project will be.
Well, if that's the case, why couldn't they just use their money and buy the land?
They are, ma'am.
It's their money that.
This is like a pass through.
Yeah.
So they passing the buck to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to be, this is for the new home development program, which is single family home ownership. And I think the 80% number you're referring to is that it's, although the guidelines are broader, the program is intended to be for people of 80% of the AMI, area median income, and below. So the affordable units will be reaching to 80% and below AMI. And again, the mix, we've looked at a couple of different scenarios in the due diligence of looking at this site. And I know that they have to be a majority of affordable units as a matter of the funding source, but at the same time, the housing department will put out the competitive solicitation for developers with criteria that they have to meet. There's a great need for affordability in this neighborhood, and I think that they have to do the economics based on the subsidy that they will provide to build the housing. And unfortunately, we lost Anderson, who was here earlier, Anderson Stout from the housing department, that could speak further to it, but it's like the yellow cab purchase.
It's to support the same things, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you all. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Director Cardoza Oquendo. I always said that right. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Director Ledette. Any further discussion or questions?
Question.
Yes, sir.
I assume this site has been cleared for, hold on just a minute.
I believe Dr. Collins is going to ask about environmental issues.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask, has it been environmentally cleared or found interfered?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
And also,
those reports are in the folder, I believe, as well.
okay. And you know, there was a cancer cluster found in Cashmere Garden, and I'm just curious as to the yellow cab and this site. Are they clear completely? That's all.
Yes, I believe so, if I understood what you were asking.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions? Hearing none, I'll call to a vote. Item on the agenda is to direct staff to acquire 1.67 acres at 7811 Harrisburg in the Magnolia Park East End area for a price not to exceed $1.9 million for the City of Houston's new home development program under the auspices of the amended and restated acquisition agreement for the City of Houston. The HCAD numbers are 025 095 000034, 025 095 000033, 025 095 000031, 025 095 000029, 025 095 000027, 025 095 000025, 025 095 000022, and 025 095 000020, and 025 095 000018, and finally 025 095 000015. Yeah, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Yes, me.
Ms. Galloway opposes?
Mm.
Any
Yes.
others? Okay. With one opposed and I believe 6 or 7 in favor, motion carries. Item number 12. Moving to item number 13, board member comments. Any board members want to comment?
I would, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I've been rather silent and rather absent. I do want to address the board. Thank you so very much for the last 11 months. I've been sticking my head in and more out than in. It's been a challenging 11 months, but I do want to acknowledge all of the effort that the board has accomplished. The effort and the work has gone forward. I want to also welcome and congratulate the new board members who are in, and I have the pleasure of seeing you on Zoom today. I look forward to a face-to-face gathering when this thing is over. I do want to add my appreciation to Brother Lampley. I'm going to miss him as well. I hope they won't be too hard on you, Brother Lampley, in calling you, because I know how that can be, because I have your number as well. But also, congratulations and on the award I was not aware of, Director Galloway. Congratulations on your award. I think that is an awesome and befitting award for you. I wanted to make sure that I got everyone in on this and not left. I didn't want to leave out our President Haynes, you and the staff. You guys are awesome. I want to thank Chairman Zeiss for keeping me informed and keeping the nudge going. So thank you so very much. It has been a challenge, to say the least. In the last 11 months, well, let me say it like this. In my role as pastor, 2020 has been challenging for us all. And so I want to encourage everybody to stay safe. I know we're trying to continue to do things that we need to do, and we should, but we don't want to take this thing lightly. In 2020, I buried more people than the last 4 years put together. And I have evidence at hand where I was talking to healthy and well individuals 2 weeks prior, and then I was performing their funeral on the third week. So what I'm telling you is that this thing is real. We want to encourage people to follow the directives that are given, but also to do your best to get these vaccinations, and let's help to encourage others to do the same. I always tell people that may have some concerns, there's one motto right now that I want to share. Either we get it or we get it. So either we get the vaccinations or we get the stuff. So let's be encouraging. Let's find out how we can best help in this community effort and do our best to support one another. Again, thank you so very much for all that you've done. We see a little bit of daylight, and I'm happy to be able to chime in on today. And finally, I do want to acknowledge, I heard the report from Brother Ron Butler. Brother Butler, you do a great job, man. I heard all of that. I can't keep up with my backyard. I appreciate the effort for all those acreage, and keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Chairman Zeiss, for this time. We appreciate you. God bless.
Thank you, Pastor Hall, and I look forward to seeing you at regular meetings for many, many reasons, but most of all, the reduction in funerals.
Yes.
Ms. Galloway, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I just want to thank everybody for your comments, and I also want to welcome our new board members, and just so excited that they can get busy and work with us. And I'm just real happy to be a part of the group. And of course, sometimes I do go another direction, but my heart is in the right place for everybody, for us to do what's right and not to be spending all our money except to build houses with. So I can't wait till we get busy in Saligas. You know, I'm still worried about Saligas getting started on getting some homes started there. So I just want to thank everybody for your compliments, and I am just excited to begin to work with the new people. And Mr. Lamp, is he still on? Don't
Yes.
worry, love. I will be calling you not too soon after this meeting. And Pastor Hall, don't worry. I'm not gonna worry him too much, because you know I come over to the church and start worrying you. So anyway,
We have people looking.
so y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Galloway. Great words. Any other board members? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Galloway. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Bailey. Third. All right. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none. Thank you all very much. Thank you for sticking with us for another long board meeting, but it was definitely worth it. So thank you very much.